Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of UHS Presents. Today we're doing Critical Affection. Let's crap on a movie we love. Joining me this evening is, of course, Julie, who is my cohort in affectionately criticizing. I fucked that up. Whatever. We're here. We're all here today. But we also have a couple of unlikely heroes that you surely must recognize by this point. We have award-winning artist Katie Rooston. Hi, Katie.
Hi.
Good to see you're awake at this crazy hour in the England. No, you're not in England. You're in Scotland. Son of a bitch. All right, and also we have our resident sexpert casting Kolbashinsky. I'm gonna get that right one of these days.
You stuttered, but you got it right. Kolbashinsky.
Like my brain wanted to say hard K instead of the sh sound, and so I had to stutter a few times, but I stutter a little bit anyway, so it works. And now we have Astian here as usual. So hi, and let's see. Oh, Aaron's here. Aaron's here, guys. Katie and Julie. Aaron's here.
Aaron!
Yay! Aaron's one of our My Little Pony friends.
Oh.
Let's see. Matt's here. Hi, Matt. Matt's here for the casting.
Yep. Hey, if I gotta be there for all his damn shows, he's gotta be there for mine.
Right? I agreed. Let's see. Daniel Calvin's here. Hi, Daniel. Daniel's he does comic stuff too. Excuse me, I forget what exactly. If you do author or artist or both. I'm terrible at remembering this stuff, but I don't remember what I did this morning, so you can't really hold that against me. Alrighty. Anyway, before we get to bitching, we have to quickly go over our UHS news review. So now almost everybody who backed Hot Brass Pharaoh's Gold should have their rewards by now. So if you don't have it, then you should drop us a note on social media, but preferably via our website to go and send an actual email. The only exception would be is if you backed for a hardcover, because those took longer to print than the paperbacks did. So everybody except hardcover people should have their stuff by now. The Surgeon, Chapter 4, got back from the printers, so is getting packed up even as we speak, and you should be getting that soon. And we will keep you posted via the Kickstarter update thinger if you back that. Y'all are still blowing us away with your support of The Art of Ian Richardson, and that has 4 days left, I think, which, by the way, that's how you back. If you're interested, you can go check it out. And let's see, where are we at? We have 4 days left, and we've unlocked the 4 stretch goals, which means that backers, I have a thingy for this too. Fun thingy. You can get the hollow foil cover. You can get everybody who backed at a physical level is getting that book, that guitar. Excuse me, that guitar pick. The hollow foil and the t-shirt are add-ons that you've unlocked with your support. Everybody who's getting a hardcover is getting that cool Grumpy Ian dust jacket, which we're talking about like UV printing or something. I don't know what's going on there, but it's going to be good. And our next stretch goal is 15K, and we're going to get this awesome print here, the alien fucking shit, can't think, brains, that thing. The thing. You'll get the print of the thing, and it's going to be awesome. So let's see. Oh, and don't forget our new title coming up soon, Miss Medusa's Monstrous Menagerie. That's coming in October. So, like us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Facey Space, wherever the hell else, at UH Studios, except for Instagram is dumb and it's UH Studios official, so whatever. But you can also just go to the website and sign up for the mailing list to keep up to date. And yeah, I think that's it. So let's get to it. In case you missed the last episode of Critical Affection or the last episode of UHS Presents in general, you can go watch that on YouTube and Facebook and for as long as you want. And the most recent episode should still be up on Twitch, but they delete those on us after 2 weeks, so you can't watch anything that's more older. That's the word. All right. It should go without saying, but if you haven't seen Labyrinth and if you haven't where the hell have you been all these decades? But if you haven't, so now that we've got that out of the way, let's get to it. Labyrinth premiered.
Funny story, if I may interject.
Yes.
Didn't realize how old I was. Went to go get the Blu-ray up, and I'm like, hey, I'm looking for the 25th anniversary of the Labyrinth. And I'm like, you mean the 35th anniversary?
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
It came out the year I was born.
I was looking at that. I was like, shit, I was alive when this thing came out. Shit.
I was 5.
So it premiered in US theaters on June 27th, 1986. It currently has a 73% critical rating and an 86% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, which seems fair given the sheer amount of drugs all the movie makers were doing in the 80s. Because, I mean, have you seen any of these movies? Let's see. Film stars Jennifer Connelly as Sarah, David Bowie as Jareth, the Goblin King, and Toby Froud as Toby the baby. That doesn't really matter at all. Was one of the story's creators' sons. And fun fact, he would not stop screaming the entire time he was on set. So David Bowie had a little finger puppet thingy that he would constantly have off camera to what's the word, to distract the baby, so that he would stop screaming and they could film the scenes.
I mean, to be fair, that kid looked traumatized in some of those scenes with all the goblins around him.
Yeah, like that's childish. That shit would not fly today.
No.
No, absolutely not. No, they would have to film that baby. I mean, maybe David Bowie could get away with like just in the crazy wig and stuff, but all the puppets around too, no way. They would have to film those separate and like composite them together, which they did have a little bit of film compositing crap in this, with the scene where the fire demon monster puppets try to pull Sarah's head off.
Mm-hmm.
That was composited because Jim Henson didn't like the way it looked in post or something about that. I read about it. I didn't actually write it down though, because I wrote that Monty Python comedian Terry Jones wrote the first draft of the script for my little trivia bits here. This was Jim Henson's final directorial credit for a theatrical film. He did do Muppets 3D, the I think it's an amusement ride or something at a Disneyland. The movie was filmed next door to Legend, which is another movie that's on our childhood trauma list. And Brian Henson, who is Jim Henson's son, got a crush on Mia Sara from that. And then like 15 years later, they actually got married. So
wow.
Fun fact. Yeah, I'm curious about like how did that whole crush thing go down? You know, did he was like, can I give you my number? Can I have your number? Like, how does that work? I don't know. I don't do the.
It was the 80s. We passed little notes and fold them up in cute little things. Say, would you pass this to Jonathan?
Oh God, don't remind me.
I still have every single one of mine. Every goddamn one of them. I have a giant Tupperware bin, and I kept all of them, and it's amazing. I'm so glad I did.
I don't think I got any.
I was. I'm think I'm with you, Katie. I don't think I ever got any, but.
Aww.
I'm gonna catch up here on comments quick. Daniel Calvin, writer of American Dreams, which is an excellent story. Oh, and he posted the link to back it in the comments. So if you guys are interested in what American Dreams is, you can go and check it out.
Something that no longer exists. That's what American Dreams are.
He posted the link to ours. I was like, I didn't think that he had one. So I was like, did I miss that? That's entirely possible. I bet I just missed that he had one going. I can't keep my own life straight, so I cannot be expected to keep anyone else's shit straight. But yeah, he posted the link to our Kickstarter, which thank you. And he said he's getting the hollow foil, so awesome. I hope it looks as cool in person as it does in the mock-up. And he said Daniel also said that he was not born yet when Labyrinth came out, so he's just a little un. Brian Henson was in fact working on Labyrinth too. That's why he was there. And he is now kind of the the puppet guy. Like he took his father's, what's the word? He took the reins of his father's. Yeah, he's the puppet guy now. Okay, this is the best part. This is the most fun for, I think, probably Julie, because I'm gonna read the synopsis now, and she gets to laugh at me screwing up. So, I don't know. I'm gonna get a little drink here first. Wet whistle. Okay. Synopsis. The film opens with Sarah Williams reciting from a book called The Labyrinth. So, roll credits. In the park with her dog Merlin, but she's unable to remember that last line. She is unknowingly being watched by a barn owl. Realizing she's late to babysit her baby half-brother Toby, she rushes home and proceeds to have an argument with her stepmother, and then her stepmother leaves her with the baby and takes Sarah's father out to supper. Sarah goes to her room to pout, and she finds her teddy bear Lancelot missing. So she goes to Toby's room to look for it. She finds the bear on the floor and Toby screaming in his crib. Frustrated and in possession of some serious white upper middle class privilege, Sarah wishes the goblins would take Toby away, and she's shocked when Toby disappears and Jareth the Goblin King appears. He offers Sarah all her dreams in exchange for the baby, but she refused, having instantly regretted her wish. Jareth transports her to the Goblin Realm and gives Sarah 13 hours to solve the labyrinth and find Toby before he is turned into a goblin forever. Toby, not Jareth. Jareth's already a goblin. Sarah first meets an inhabitant named Hoggle, who grumpily helps her enter the labyrinth and then leaves. A talking worm, who's somewhat friendlier, helps her to learn how to find paths in the labyrinth, but inadvertently sends her in the wrong direction. After
he thought he was saving her.
What's that?
He thought he was saving her. He's like, well, who would want to go to the castle?
Yeah, he didn't mean to send her in the wrong direction. He was being very well-meaning. Okay, after struggling along some way, Sarah finds her way to a set of talking doors who tell her she can only ask one question and to discover which door to go through. Despite the weird-ass logic in her decision to ask the red door, she ends up falling through a hole into an oubliette, which I had to look up, by the way. It is a real thing. And then she runs into Hoggle again there. Hoggle, being a servant of Jareth, is supposed to guide her back to the beginning of the labyrinth, but Sarah tempts him with the offer of a plastic bracelet, and he tries to help her instead. Jareth sees Hoggle betraying him and confronts them both in the oubliette and forces them to run from a machine called the Cleaner. After finding the way out of the oubliette, the two hear the howl of Ludo, who uses his roar to summon rocks to his aid. Hoggle flees in a cowardly fashion, while Sarah befriends Ludo after freeing him from a trap, but then she loses him in a forest. Hoggle encounters Jareth, who gives him an enchanted peach and instructs him to give it to Sarah. Sarah is harassed by a group of creatures called the Fireys, but Hoggle finds her and helps her. And then they fall into the bog of eternal stench because she kissed him or something. I'm unclear. Because he said he was going to turn Hoggle into the king of the...
Yep, so that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. Cool. So let's see. So then they fall into the bog of eternal stench, where they reunite with Ludo. The trio meet the guard of the swamp, Sir Didymus, and his dog steed, Ambrosius, which happens to look exactly like Sarah's dog, Merlin. As Sarah tries to cross the bridge to get out of the swamp, the bridge collapses, but Ludo uses his rock summoning power to save her. Didymus joins the group, and they continue towards the castle. When the group gets hungry, Hoggle reluctantly gives Sarah the enchanted peach and runs away when she falls into a trance after eating the peach and has forgotten everything that she was doing. She has a dream where Jareth comes to her at a masquerade ball, proclaiming his love for her, but she rebuffs him and escapes, and falls into a junkyard. The junk lady there tries to brainwash her into staying in the junk pile, but she's rescued by Ludo and Didymus, who reveal that they are right outside the goblin city of Jareth's castle. They are then confronted by the giant robotic gate guard, but Hoggle somehow finds his bravery and comes to their aid and pulls the driver out of the robot. And Hoggle then apologizes to Sarah and expresses his shame and regret, and Sarah forgives him. The others welcome him back, and they enter the city together. Jareth is alerted to the group's presence and sends his goblin army to stop them, but Ludo summons hundreds of rocks to chase the goblins away, and they enter the castle. Sarah insists she must face Jareth alone because story, and promises to call the others if she needs help. She enters this very MC Escher-like room where she sees and tries to retrieve Toby but can't get to him. Jareth appears before her and offers her everything she desires if she will agree to serve him. She recites the lines from the book she was reading at the beginning of the story but still cannot remember the last line. As Jareth offers Sarah her dreams, she remembers the line, "You have no power over me," and finally utters it to Jareth, and he is defeated, and he turns back into a barn owl and flies away, and Sarah and Toby magic home safely. And she somehow, through this, has realized how important Toby is, so she gives him Lancelot, and God damn it, Jack, will you sit the fuck down? Jesus. Where was I? So she gives the baby Lancelot the teddy bear and then returns to her room. And as her father and stepmother return home, she sees her friends in the mirror and admits even though she has grown up, she still needs them in her life every now and then. Suddenly her friends appear in the room with her and some of the other denizens of the labyrinth, and they all start to dance around and have fun. And as they celebrate, Jareth, as a barn owl, watches from outside and then flies off into the moonlight.
Yay.
I like
was
how you turned the word magic into a verb.
Yeah,
Isn't it though?
it's a thing. You can magic someone away.
I'm magicked. Look at that. And then, so now I don't need to concentrate on where the hell I'm reading in a big block of text, and the bastard just fucks off.
Yep.
Okay. I'm done now. All right. So, who's got some cool notes to start? Anybody want to start? I can start.
Any particular type of notes? You want to pick a topic or just you?
I have like random notes, and they're listed in order of how I see them in the movie, so that's how I go. But my first note was that Sarah's stepmother like yells at her because she's not dating, and I'm just like, what fucking parent ever would yell at you for not dating? She's like, I would love it if you had a date. No, you wouldn't. Well, maybe she would because she's the stepmom.
Well,
no.
More of
Here's one of the
trying to pull Sarah out of that fantasy world and getting her to grow up and trying to, be a young woman as opposed to just stuck in her fantasy world all by herself. So her stepmom would rather see her go out and socialize with other kids her age rather than just being on her own.
Her mom kind of sucks because growing up should be completely optional.
Agreed.
She kind of strikes me as being the sort of woman who's like, why haven't you given me grandchildren yet by the time the kid's like 21?
She totally is. What if she had stayed with Jareth and had little goblin grandbabies?
Pedophilia much?
How old is she supposed to be anyway?
She's coded 16.
Yeah, all the descriptions of the movie descriptions say she's 16. So yeah, she's like almost legal, but also David Bowie is like 40.
I think he was 49. I think 39 or 49.
Yeah, he was old enough to be her father at least. So, I mean, like, and it's they do. I feel like even in 1985, 1986, when they were making this, they were like, "Oh, this is getting a little bit pedophilia. We better be careful." And they did. Very like they got to the line and they were like, oh shit, there's the line, there it is, and then they didn't actually cross it, but God, it was just like there's a bunch of parts that, and as a kid of course I never noticed, but
I did
as an adult I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, I mean in the UK the age of consent is actually 16, so in the UK it is, but it's still weird. I mean he's just so much older than her.
Yeah, maybe like they should have thrown in some kind of line about how time is different in the labyrinth.
Well, with him being the Goblin King, he's basically an immortal, so age doesn't really matter to him. I mean, to that effect, though, she would be infinitely younger than he is.
Yeah,
that's true, but I mean, maybe it just didn't matter at all to him, and maybe age means nothing to the Goblin King either. I don't know. There's a lot of shit that probably should have been thrown in there as a yeah, we get really close to pedophilia, but here we have written this shit to justify it. Like they didn't throw that in there, and maybe they should have. I don't know.
Yep.
I just slobbered a little. I just like drool out the corner of my mouth. It's just thinking about David Bowie in those tight ass pants, dang.
Woo, that package. Damn. So often. Like he must be a grower, not a shower.
Okay, so there's that scene where Hoggle like grabs his leg and is like, please don't throw me into the bog. And like you can see it from its profile. I'm like, holy shit, is David Bowie's junk like that big? Because they fucking tailored in a ball sack into the pants. I was like, wow. I mean, wow.
So many outfits, and so many of them were so tight around the crotch.
They obviously had just the one pattern for the pants, and they're like, this is the pant shape. This is what you're getting. We'll make them in different colors, but you're not getting different styles.
And stretchy material too.
It's like all the money goes to the puppets. You know, you can get, the same set of leggings for every scene. We'll give you a different color.
Yeah, he does have that one. Like he has like the cloak that's made out of fucking like really long ass hair. It's not the tassel-y stuff that you'd see on your average 70s like Freddie Mercury style coat, but it's like hair. It's so weird. I mean, I would have been just creeping out. I would have had to take a lorazepam before doing that scene if I were him. Holy shit. That would have been a lot for me. And Astian says this movie was so wild you could make up half of it and we may not notice. That's true. I could have just bullshitted the entire because I watched it again last night / today, and I was like, I don't remember any of this shit from when I was a kid, or even from like probably 10 years ago, since the most recent time I've seen it up till now. Yikes. Daniel
I don't think I saw it as a kid.
Well, you were born then. Just born then. So actually,
well,
you would have been like a couple of weeks old when that came out, right? So you would have really, it would have been awesome. And it wasn't actually that big of, it's a huge cult hit now, but it wasn't really that big of a hit.
That was exactly what I was going to say. Like it cost, I think it was like 25 million. And it got half in box office. It wasn't until a few years later on like VHS, which is where I saw it, that it got more popular.
Right. Yeah. So
I know I showed it to my dad when I was like, well, probably about 10 years ago now, and he was just like, "What the hell is this?"
The 80s.
Yeah. Your dad was alive then, right? Did he not notice any of it?
Probably not.
Yeah, Daniel said he loves this movie because of the sheepdogs, which are admittedly fucking adorable.
They can't see.
That's true, but I think that's isn't that one of the breeds that hasn't been made to be that way because of humans wanting a fluffy dog? Like it was actually that breed of dog is that way for a reason.
Oh yeah, it's a working dog.
Yeah. And Daniel also said the choreographer of the film is none other than Gates Beverly Crusher McFadden.
What?
Really?
I had no idea.
Wow.
Like I knew that was in her history, that she was really big into dance and choreography, which is why in TNG she had so many scenes where she did it. Like the one she was trying to teach Data how to dance. Like that was amazing. But yeah, that is really interesting to know. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah. That's cool.
Oh, and here's Aaron swinging in with, because Dark Crystal was better. God damn it, Aaron. I regret telling you that we were doing this tonight now. It's okay. I told her earlier that I don't think that Dark Crystal is better. I don't think that Labyrinth is better. I think that they're just both just holy shit 80s fuckery, and they're both amazing in their own ways. I don't have a preference.
Agree.
So
Labyrinth is creepier.
Really? I think Dark Crystal.
Really? I would just go the other way.
Oh no, I really don't like the Skeksis and that. I just, especially the Netflix, the new ones that they've done. I just don't like them.
Sorry. I thought you said you thought the Labyrinth was creepier. No,
I probably did it
Dark
too late.
Yeah.
yeah, I thought you meant the Labyrinth too. I was like, I think Dark Crystal's way creepier.
Yeah, I probably said the wrong thing. It's like 1:30 in the morning.
It's sleepy time.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I just write a little like my stream of consciousness as I'm watching this. There's a point in the beginning at which Sarah refers to herself as a slave, and I'm like, that's some pretty strong upper middle class white girl vibes there. Like, you are not a slave, honey, and that is not the word you should have been using. Like, oppressed, not even like mildly inconvenienced, maybe. I mean, even at 16, this girl should have known that she has it pretty fucking good. Like, did you see that house? Holy shit. That house is bigger than all the houses I've ever lived in, maybe even put together. Like, and my parents live in a humongous house, and okay.
Well, she's a teenager, and from her perspective, having to watch this little baby that her dad started a family with a new woman, like, yeah, that's going to get on her nerves. Teenagers are self-centered by nature. They have to be to learn to be adults. And so her being pissed off that she has to take care of her little brother, absolutely there's resentment there. She hates the kid's mom, so why is she going to like the kid? It's, her dad's replacing her. So I get it, like, completely 100% agree that it is privileged, but I see her perspective.
Yeah, I mean, and I am looking at it through the lens of a, adult now, whereas before I might have very well been in the same, like, I would have agreed with her when I was 16. So that's fair. But there is, like, at the beginning when the stepmom is like, I told you that I would only ask you to babysit if you didn't have anything else going on, and you agreed. And so I'm sitting here going, why is she so bitchy? If she agreed to this shit, why is she so pissy about having to take care of this baby?
My
notes just have teenage drama in caps locks on it.
Oh, and that reminded me when Matt and I were talking about it. Like, in the rest of the movie, she's a pretty decent actress, but when she throws her fucking fit in the beginning of it, it is so overacted. Like, she could have done such a better job doing those scenes.
Yeah, it's almost like she had a completely different director for the beginning than she did for the rest of the movie, because her entire demeanor takes a total turn. Like, I wouldn't say she's like 180ing, because she does a lot of that's not fair in the movie, but and she has a weird arc, because it's like it's not an arc, it's more like she's spoiled brat, and then she just I care about my brother all of a sudden, and then from there it's kind of an arc after that. But like, she goes from being a whiny brat to being oh my god, I have to save my brother really fast. Jesus Christ, there's a thunderstorm happening outside. I'm just jealous. Such a big flash of light there, and I was like, what the fuck was that? It's raining, that's what.
I did notice that when she came in from the storm, she looked like a drowned rat. She was so wet. And then, like, the next scene, which can't have been very long afterwards, her hair is just perfectly straight and shiny and dry.
I wish my hair did that.
Yeah.
Probably were like, they probably didn't even notice that they were doing that when they made the movie. They're just like, shit, that nobody's gonna see that. Well, we saw.
It's weird watching this as an adult now for me, knowing that Jennifer Connelly was in Requiem for a Dream.
Oh my god!
And you know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about. You're talking about that one scene at the end.
Yeah, it's a little disturbing watching the Labyrinth, and because that just pops in my head.
I mean, Requiem for a Dream, excellent movie as well, but not the same as no.
I haven't seen that one.
You should go watch it and tell us what you think.
Sure.
So, where'd we go? Okay, so like she was yelling at the baby, like she was yelling at him to stop crying, and I don't know how much experience y'all have with babies, but I have some, and I've noticed that yelling at them, screaming right into their face, not the best way to get them to stop crying.
Well, she was the only child, obviously, unless she has a way older sibling that's out of the house. And you don't learn. I mean, typically all of us girls get dolls and stuff when we're young, and so we're kind of trained from a young age on how to care and stuff.
1,000 different kinds of dolls in her bedroom, though. She has so many different
dolls.
Yeah,
but I didn't see any baby dolls.
Fair. I think that like a hypothesis of mine is that she has some kind of neurodivergency, ADHD or autism or something, because she is off into her own little fantasy world a lot, and she seems easily distracted, and she seems very immature for 16, which are all things that I personally relate to very much.
I know someone else who relates to that, except for, the last bit of it, but yeah.
I might know who you're talking about. Cough, cough. Like, that's my thought, is like, that they didn't necessarily say out loud that, oh, she's not a neurotypical, because I don't even think that kind of language existed in the 80s.
Especially not for girls.
Oh, certainly not. She was just a space cadet, and she was what's the other word? She dreamed too much of a daydreamer. Like, they just yeah.
Oh, I did notice though that
a different show.
I did notice though that she's screaming at the baby to shut up. But did you notice at the end of it, when the parents came home, when they've made her babysit the baby to make it go to sleep, they just yell, "We're home!" up the stairs. It's like, baby's asleep.
Yep.
Well, when they yelled jumping way ahead in my notes here, but I wrote this down. When they holler, "We're home," and then they go, "Sarah, are you home?" Where the fuck was she gonna go? She was watching an infant. You guys left her in charge of an infant. Why did you think she might leave? Jesus Christ!
Obviously, don't trust her very much then.
Yeah, and like and he didn't even seem that concerned. Sarah, are you home? Like, question mark? Not, oh my God, are you not here? What the fuck? And like, yeah, go check on the baby first. But yeah.
He was probably not asleep anymore because he just yelled up the stairs.
Unless it's just a normal thing in their house. Babies learn how to cope in an environment, so maybe they're yellers.
Babies are weird like that. Like, you can, when they're falling asleep, you can startle them back awake. But once they're asleep, I was babysitting my sister's kids once, and I think it was Ava. I think it was the big one. She's big now, but she was not big then, and she just was just having a meltdown, and I think that she was teething. I think that's why. It was something that I couldn't do anything about, that she was mad about. So I just kind of was like, oh, I was holding her until she screamed so loud she made because like, this ear doesn't work very well, but this one kind of works okay. So she like made it ring, and so I was like, okay, I can't hear anymore. I'm sorry to have to do this to you, kid, but I've got to put you down now. And so she just kind of followed me around, screaming. And then just all of a sudden, screaming stopped. I mean, I was in the same room, but I had my back turned, and so I look around, and she had fallen asleep in the doorway of the room. And shit, what do I do? Do I just leave her there? I feel like I should just leave her. So I did. I left her there, and I was like, I told the two boys, I was like, please don't step on your sister, that she's in the middle of the room, but like, I don't want to move her because I don't want to wake her up, because she obviously needs this sleep. And also, I needed a break from the screaming. So we just left her there. Babies are good like that. Like, I wish I could fall asleep in the middle of a doorway. Now I fall asleep on the couch in a slightly off position, and I hurt for a week.
So, getting old.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, it beats the alternative, I know, but doesn't mean I'm not gonna bitch about it when it happens.
I'm gonna. The alternative.
What?
What's the alternative?
Death.
Oh, yeah, definitely beats that.
I'm just gonna I'd take your word for it with babies, because I have never even held a baby in my life. So.
Oh man, you get high as fuck smelling baby heads. Try it.
I kind of find them a bit creepy, so.
That's okay. Just rub their head and smell it, and you'll get super high, and it'll be a-okay.
Okay, I've never actually gotten high from smelling a baby.
Well, what it is the scent of the baby releases a lot of oxytocin in your brain, which is considered the trust hormone. And so it makes everything happy and wonderful. It's basically like a very small hit of Molly. If you've ever tried Molly or ecstasy, it's a very, very small hit of that, and it's quite nice. It's why us as adults who have children, we don't murder them, because they make us love them by getting us high. Like, I am not making this shit up. This is absolutely it. Because who else are you going to put up with, shitting on everything and screaming at you and throwing shit at you? Nobody. You would put up with that shit from an adult because babies get you high.
Maybe I just.
I think that must be the same for puppies as well.
Yes. And cat butts, Sarah.
He's trying to steal my grapes. I don't think that I have that receptor in my brain because now, okay, he's strangling me with the cord now.
Everybody's body's different.
Ah!
Aww. Kitty hug.
Aw.
Okay, now you gotta sit down. Okay. He will happily sit like this for hours if I let him. He's such a pain in the ass. Yeah, no, I don't have that ability. I mean, it's not that I don't love my nephews and nieces, but I just I don't get that want a baby thing.
Oh,
like
I never want kids.
Baby back. So yeah, and I guess it's fun because you can pick out clothes and shit for them, but then
that's not the fun part.
You have to take them. You have to take care of them and keep them alive and stuff. And
the fun part is doing experiments on them. It's amazing to see how their little brains work. Like the first time you turn a baby upside down and see their reaction to the world because everything is flipped over. Or the first time they hear a different sound than they've heard before. I love that shit because all of these things are brand new to that child. And so I'm all into the brain and how the human brain works, obviously. So doing experiments on my friends' babies, I'm sorry, Kelly, if you're watching, that it's just so awesome to watch them try to puzzle things out.
That sounds a bit weird taken out of context.
That's fair. And also, Caston has a babysitting service. If you guys wanted to have,
I have a cat sitting service, perhaps.
Yeah, no, I kind of it made me think of my the younger niece. Actually, shit, I've got 3 nieces now. Oh my god, I gotta keep the middle one. The middle one. My nephew passed away when he was 15, but he would pick up the kids, pick up Natalie, his little sister Natalie, and swing her around, and she would just fucking lose her shit every time. And actually, it was kind of sad because she would try and get us to pick her up and do it, and we'd never do it right for her. She stopped asking people to swing her around because nobody did it right. Nobody did it like Damien did it, so we couldn't do it right. But
special memories.
Yeah, it made me think of that. It was the way that she would just giggle her ass off, and I was like, this doesn't seem that fun. I probably thought it was awesome when I was a baby, though, because spinning me around now, you're just gonna get a lot of vomit on you.
No more carnival rides for you.
Yeah, no. Oh shit, man, I can't even ride in the passenger seat of a car without getting sick. So
don't read books. Don't read your phone. That's what gets you sick.
I can't. I try to do the horizon thing where you look off into the horizon.
Okay,
and I can't do it.
Weird thing that actually helps, and you can buy them, is blinders like they use on horses, because in your circumstance, it's seeing your peripheral vision moving while the front is staying the same. That's causing the nausea. So yeah, they have some, it's basically sunglasses with sides on it. So wherever you look, you're only seeing that movement perspective.
Might have to give that a shot.
I'm such a nerd.
We've gotten off topic too. We're talking about now we're talking about people blinders, and yeah. I had a giggle out of the fact that that Sarah kept messing up Hoggle's name and saying Hogwarts, and I wondered if that's where J.K. Rowling got the name for it. I hate to even say her name on this show because she's
a horrible piece of shit human being.
It's instead of acknowledging the shortfalls of her stories and stuff, she just was like, no, I meant it that way, and retcon shit, and then just go full turf on us. I don't know.
Anyway, back to the Labyrinth.
Yes. Yeah. Did you notice that Jareth and the walls and the weird mold with eyeballs and the bricks and everything sparkly as hell.
Yes. Oh,
So
no,
glittery.
watching it.
Jeff
I was
was
constantly mad,
nightmare.
like,
It
I
was
want that job.
covered in glitter. Oh, and I can't. I have to say, I just fucking loved it. It looked. I was like, I wish my whole life could be covered with glitter. Not the
I'm
kind that you can-
completely covered in glitter, just for the theme of it, the whole 80s side ponytail and blue eyeshadow and glitter everywhere. Love it. I wanted that job just to shoot shit with glitter.
Oh yes, I had a job at Hobby Lobby for a couple of weeks. And
I'm
it was
sorry.
a couple of weeks for a couple of reasons, but yeah, fucking. I want to say for at least a year afterwards, just glitter, just random glitter. Yeah.
I think I remember you complaining about that.
It was just that I was getting it on Jeff's stuff, and he has this. You know how some people get? It seems like it's a completely irrational thing to get angry about, but they get mad about it, and like that's glitter is his. He cannot stand glitter.
So he hates magic?
If it was magic glitter, I suppose it would be fine, but it's the kind of glitter that goes up your nose and gets stuck to your eyelashes, and yeah, so that's the kind that he doesn't like.
Kills everything in microplastics.
Oh, and
I've got on my notes. How do the goblins know that she's talking about them? Because they all seem to be staring at a screen or something. Like they're staring at the screen.
Yeah.
But how do they know that? Are they just all sat watching her from somewhere?
Yeah, maybe from Jared's crystal ball. I don't know, but yeah, like they just kind of cut to them, and then they cut back to Sarah, and then they cut back to the goblins, and where were they watching? They like lived the walls of her house or something. I don't know.
I mean, have they been spying on her for a long time, or if the owl's been watching her, then maybe yes. But
yeah, they must have been close though, because they got that baby out of there fast. They got that baby out so fast. And then as soon as the instant that baby is gone, she regrets the decision, and I'm like, you weren't even a little relieved for a moment, and she wants the baby back. And then Jareth offers her all of her dreams in exchange for her baby brother. And I was like, I don't know. You seem to really hate that kid. Why are you not saying yes to that? I'm not endorsing people giving babies to strangers in order to get stuff for them. I'm just saying, like, she really seemed to hate that baby, and then suddenly she wanted it back. Like they should have put in a line where she says, "My parents are gonna kill me," or something. Because I was like, why are you panicked? Like, you have no reason to panic with considering what you just said about hating him. And then all of a sudden he's gone, and you're like, not even. And we knew he wasn't like in danger. You know, he was with the Goblin King, who was taking perfectly good care of him the whole time. So.
But she's a teenager, and that's what teenagers do all the time. I hate mom. I hate dad. I hate my siblings. They don't actually mean it. It's just more of that teenage brain, all of the hormones, all of their feelings are turned up to 11. But when the reality of something like that happens, then all of a sudden, all that shit's just pushed to the side. Like if you say, I hate your mom or hate your dad, and they, get into a car accident and they're really sick in the hospital, yeah, you're not going to say, oh, I'm so glad they're in the hospital. Hopefully they die. Like, they don't actually mean it. It's just being a teenager.
I suppose it's because there's more consequences as well. If you say that stuff to a baby, the baby's not going to know. Yep. The baby doesn't really understand. But, if there's someone else that actually understands, it's maybe that's like, oh, there are actually consequences to my words,
Babies understand tone, though, and she was yelling at that kid.
Yeah.
And also, Kasten, are you gonna head shrink all of this?
I mean, it's kind of the lens through which I view the world.
I can tell. It's an interesting angle that we didn't have before. So I was like, wow, she is head shrinking us right now.
I love tinkering in people's brains and seeing how they work. Like I have since I was a little kid.
That's fair.
That's fair. I was never like her
as I got older, but certainly not now, or certainly not when I watched this the first time.
Would you say, Rooston?
I was never like that as a teenager. My parents were just like, you didn't even have a teenage phase. I think I was just born at the age of 40.
40 years old.
Yeah.
Oh, Laurie's watching. Maybe
Hi,
kind of.
Lori.
Yeah. She just said babies are currency or babies as currency. Yeah, exactly.
Lori, did you get your package? It's supposed to arrive today by 8.
We'll
She
see.
got a gift package. So does Sarah.
Whoa. So does Sarah.
Nice.
What was I saying? She said I got my package.
Yay!
It's not opened yet. She did not open it.
Aw.
She'll get there. I think that she has like 800 boxes of the surgeon to bring in to the house or something. So she'll get to it. Because I think that I don't know if the surgeon was what arrived, but I know that she has to haul a bunch of boxes. So I assume it's the surgeon.
Got it.
Oh, Erin mentioned that she can't see Jared Leto the same after Requiem for a Dream either. So yeah.
Yep.
Lori said I'm watching the stream first, so good call.
Yay.
Okay. Oh, did you guys see the chicken abuse? Like, was that real chicken abuse? They
Oh,
like
yeah.
ran over a chicken with a paper mache ball and a paper mache
I saw
rubber.
that. Yeah.
I was like, I don't think that this stuff was endorsed by the covered by the ASPCA or whatever, you know. Like,
And there was
hey,
that one chicken where it was just chaos going on everywhere, and it did not give a fuck. Like, it didn't care at all that all these goblins were running around and rocks were going around. He was just like, do, peck, peck. Just did not give a shit.
I mean, chickens are pretty cool like that. They are pretty chill like that. But they legit ran over a chicken with a paper mache rock. So I'm just wondering how many letters they got from PETA.
I don't think it was as much of a thing in the 80s, though. I mean, I don't know where the animal welfare thing in film started coming out, but some of the earlier films were absolutely terrible, especially for like horses and things.
Oh, yeah. And now horses are one of the most regulated animals on set there is. Like, they're taken better care of than the top billed actors.
Oh yeah. There was a reason that I was researching that, and some of the 30s, the films from the 30s that they did about ancient Greece and stuff. So many horses died, and it was horrible. And I just
Ben-Hur, I think it was.
It's not the only one. It's crazy, and like it makes sense that they are one of the most regulated living creatures on a set now because just the callousness with which the directors and the scene arranger people like treated them. It was bad. And
I think they started regulating things like that until Apocalypse Now came out, which was 78, because that's where they had the real slaughter at the beginning of the movie. That was 100% real. And I think it was after that people were a little like, what the fuck is going on? And they finally have it regulated after that people, trainers, animal, professionals and whatever are on set from there going forward, making sure all the animals are safe. And
that's horrifying. And when you look at it from that angle, hitting a chicken with a paper mache rock isn't so bad.
Yeah,
Holy shit.
It did seem to get out of the way as well. I think it just caught its tail.
Yeah, it just kind of bonks them. It doesn't hurt. I mean, you can clearly see the chicken's fine. It scoots out of the way and it's fine. But like, I just feel like if it were made now, they would have had to CGI that. They wouldn't have been able to get away.
I'm just amazed that the chickens, none of them started attacking the actual people, because have you ever been around chickens? They just get one that'll just go for anything that's running.
yeah.
I know, Katie, I'm sorry, but I hate chickens. They chase me every time and it freaks me out. And I just like, my mom had chickens and my mom has chickens. My grandma had chickens. All I wanted was a goddamn duck. All my life was I just wanted a fucking duck because ducks are so chill and chickens are just not.
Especially males. Oh my god, roosters are son of a bitch.
That would have made the battle so much more surreal, though, if there was just chickens fighting the goblins as well.
That'd be great.
I mean, I bet the chickens would be on the side of our heroes, wouldn't they? Like, the chickens wouldn't have been on the goblins'
No,
side.
chickens are just agents of chaos.
Well, yeah, don't fuck with them in Zelda. They'll fucking attack your ass.
Yeah, Matt said chickens will swarm just like in Zelda. Like, yeah. You don't fuck
Oh,
with
save
chickens.
brain!
And also said, Matt also said ducks are kind of assholes.
Yeah.
I mean, ducks are kind of assholes, but not the same way that chickens are assholes.
Geese are the
I've
real
seen my
assholes.
hens kill and eat mice.
And swans. Katie, I have told you this before. I got chased by a fucking swan when I went to London. Oh,
Just don't let them know you're scared of them.
I was carrying a sandwich, and I didn't know that was verboten. I just
Oh yeah, they will bite you if you've got
they're
bread.
like 100 pounds too. These birds are humongous, and so like they can break your arm. Like I was with a friend of mine. We were walking back from the Greg the Baker's, and I had this half a sandwich because he was like pissed at me because I didn't eat the sandwich because I was super jet lagged, and I it's like food wasn't really on my mind. And then so being super jet lagged, hadn't slept in over a day, walking through the park, an unfamiliar park in a complete daze, following him, and then this fucking swan comes at me. And I'm just like, I was like hiding behind him, and he's like, don't use me as a shield. And so I flung the sandwich and I ran away screaming.
You got held up by a swan.
I'm like, can I punch a swan? Is that like, I know you can't kill swans in England because they're the queen's birds, but like, can you punch a swan and not get in trouble? Because I didn't know what to do.
Self-defense.
I wasn't gonna punch the swan anyway because I'm pretty sure that would have ended up bad for me.
They usually don't if you stand up to them. If you can stare them down usually.
Yeah, no, they don't get that close to you here. We don't have any swans to speak of. Like every now and again you'll see a swan, but mostly it's ducks and geese. And geese, like you said, geese are the real bastards. Like I make the joke often, and nobody ever gets it. Nobody ever laughs at it, but it's fucking hilarious, and I stand by it. All Canadians are super polite except French Canadians and geese. Are not nice. Matt's like, swans attacked my boat while canoeing once, and that sounds horrifying. And because the fact that he used swans plural instead of just us.
Yeah.
Oh my god, one of them will kill you. Okay, let's see.
On my notes, I've got David Bowie is the perfect person to play. Well, I put him as a fae, which is, he seems sort of like what the traditional thing of fairies is, the fae, rather than, well, like it said, like with the little fairies, he was like spraying with the poison spray and knocking out. But the original ones were like man-sized, so I think he's like, but it's his different colored eyes. It's just perfect for it.
Yeah, it gives an extra little touch to it that probably wouldn't have happened otherwise, because they probably wouldn't have thought like that to give two different colored eyes. Technically, his eyes aren't two different colors. It's just his pupil is all fucked up in one, and it's all
That's
big.
what it was. Yeah, because I noticed that. I thought they were the same color, but yeah, that left pupil is a lot bigger than the right one.
Yeah, I read about it. I actually did a Jareth My Little Pony custom a long time ago, and I had to read about it to make sure I was getting it accurate. And it turns out he got into a fight with somebody when he was younger, and he got smacked real hard in the eye, and it messed up his pupil, and it was just permanently dilated.
Damn.
Yeah. Oh yeah, then the Dance Magic Dance song that has nothing to do with anything except talking about you remind me of the babe.
Well, as we spoke
That baby
before,
looks like he's
I feel
tripping
like
in that scene.
I feel like it doesn't, like, in a musical, a song is meant to move the plot along, and it doesn't really do that. I guess it does, like Caston, like you said earlier, that it kind of describes what he's gonna do with the baby. He kind of describes that he's gonna make the baby into a goblin. But
a goblin prince.
That, didn't he? Oh, goblin prince. But that's the extra bit of elaboration that we didn't get in the beginning. So maybe that's good enough. And I like I said,
all those other goblins were then?
What's that?
Is that what all the other goblins were? Were they once babies that he's stolen from people?
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it stands to reason that they are. And why is Toby so special that he gets to be the prince and the other ones are just kind of regular?
Because he wants his bigger sister as, his queen.
That's true. Yeah, because that's what I was theorizing, that perhaps Sarah was the babe with the power that he really wanted all along. Because why would he offer her dreams in exchange for a baby? Why would he try to make her happy? And then at the end of the movie, he even says, everything I did for you. He says it in
But
the
that's
song.
gaslighting. That is 100% motherfucking gaslighting. Like, he's just trying to bribe her ass to leave her little brother so he could do whatever the thing he wanted to do to make them the Goblin Prince.
That's not gaslighting. That's just goblin culture. But yeah, no, I agree completely. It's absolutely, he tried to trick her. He tried with the labyrinth and the walls moving and shit. Like, he tried to trick her. He tried to confuse her. He tried to make her believe that her own mind was faulty. I mean, that is classic.
He roofied her ass. Just put it out how it is. He fucking roofied her ass with that goddamn peach.
He did. And then now that's the thing that I think might be, for me, the touch that makes them get away with the borderline. Because that dance scene, the ballroom scene, is the one where you're going, ugh, this is really getting close to being non-consensual, pedophilia here. And but the fact that it's supposedly a dream or hallucination, like, I was like, maybe that's the thing that they get away with it. But even still, like, even when they're interacting at the end, and it's definitely not a hallucination on Sarah's part, it's borderline. It is so, like, they are towing the line.
Well, I don't think it was a hallucination. The whole dream sequence of her in the epic 80s hair and outfit, because when she broke out of it, she was in a completely different place than what she was when she went into it. Because that's when she got booted out to the trash pile.
Yeah, and she meets the junk lady, who then also tries to gaslight her and manipulate her, and tries to trick her into staying in that hallucination of her bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
And then when she's like, no, I know what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm not supposed to be here. And then Ludo and Sir Didymus.
I wonder if his first name is Epi.
I was thinking that too.
Matt rolled his eyes so hard at me for coming up with that joke.
No, I was like, did they do that on purpose? Did they do that on purpose? Because that's hilarious.
See, I'm not a weirdo, Matt.
No, well, I mean, either that or we're like the two weirdos. I don't know. I was like, I had to look it up because I'm like, I know it's a part of the man's general dick area, but I don't remember what it was. I had to look it up because I was like, I know it's part of the downstairs bits of men. Oh, Lori said, I guess we're all weird. She was too.
I was thinking about the whole gaslighting thing. If you think about the old legends of the fairy, like the traditional legends of the fairies, they're kind of all like that. Like, I'm just going to make you sleep for 200 years and it's your own fault and stuff. And, trickery and everything like that.
What you said to them too, didn't you? Like, if you said the wrong thing, like, if you gave them your name, if they said something about, may I have your name or something like that, and they would steal your whole identity or some shit.
Basically, they were a bunch of bastards.
Yeah. Which is funny because we've romanticized them into being something magical with, like.
Yeah. You could read Lords and Ladies by Terry Pratchett that goes into the way that ideas have changed.
I love Terry Pratchett. I read every single one of his books multiple times and have all of them on audiobooks. He's a motherfucking genius, and the best line he ever said, he wrote for death. Let me get it right. I don't want to fuck it up. There is no justice, just us. It's like, fucking genius. Like, goddamn.
I thought that the writers of Avatar: The Last Airbender came up with that, so I kind of feel cheated now because they totally ripped off Terry Pratchett. Because there's no way that Terry Pratchett wrote that after Avatar: The Last Airbender.
We need to read some, Sarah. I keep telling you that.
I know, I do, and I mean, I've read a little bit, but I have not read, like, I've not just sat down with the books and the Discworld books. I know I need to get into it because
Lords and Ladies is really kind of relevant to the whole discussion about older fairies and elves and everything like that, though.
Yeah, I definitely need to get into them. I've been in for the past year and a half or so. Like, I started a book and I put it down in the middle of the book, and I can't even pick it up and read it now anymore. And it was okay. you know, everybody knows now. So anybody who's watching who doesn't know, I'm gonna cause their respect for me to drop now because it was the fucking Twilight book. It was the new Twilight book.
Guilty pleasure.
It is, and I have a special place in my heart because for the Twilight series because I was extremely, extremely depressed, like bottom of the barrel depressed, and my cousin Nikki, she suggested that I read these books, and I kept arguing with her. I'm like, no, they suck, they're bad, and because the only thing I'd seen at that point was the movies. And so she's like, no, the books are better. And I was like, no, they're not. They can't be. And she's like, no, they're not beautiful masterpieces, but they're better than the movies. So you have to. And I picked it up and just, it was so easy to lose myself in the world, I guess, in the universe of the Twilight books. So that's why it managed to get me through that shitty period. So I have a special place. And
Aww.
I feel almost guilty that I haven't finished that most recent one, which I can't even remember the name of, but it's the one that's it's the first book, but rewritten from the point of view of Edward. Anyway, that's like not even the same. We're not even going to do the Twilight movies because Julie can't. She said that's the only one she won't do.
I just noticed in my notes that I put a line that says, "How does a worm put on a scarf?"
His wife did it for him.
But they've got no hands.
They got a teeth. They can bite it and do it.
Maybe it was like a clip-on tie, but for a scarf. Like he just had to put his head through the loop.
There you go.
I don't know.
Oh, also in my notes, I find Hoggle a little bit creepy sometimes. But did you see when someone found the puppet in a suitcase, and it's half rotten and it's terrifying?
Just today I read about that. Holy shit! What was that? Like, they lost a puppet on a plane for God knows how long, and then they put it in a fucking museum too. It's in one of the airport museums.
Terrifying. It's so horrible.
Yeah.
He looks like he's melted, like a zombie sort of like Terminator style thing coming through with all the metalwork and everything. It's horrible.
Get the picture of it up here. Hoggle puppet.
You have to. It's horrible.
I want to see it. I hadn't seen it yet.
I just went, oh my God. I heard about it, but I didn't look it up. Oh my God.
I told you, it's horrible.
Katie, I'm going to have nightmares. Oh! Okay, do you guys really want to see this?
Yes, I can't find it.
Please.
Oh God. Okay. Let me share my screen here. Wow. This is a lot, man. This is a lot. Yikes. I mean,
it's like something out of Five Nights at Freddy's.
Look at that shit. Horrifying.
It's going to be a lot worse.
Wow.
I mean, it looks like he has a really horribly untreated STI.
Yeah.
And the plague.
Gross. They have another one here. I don't know if this one is. It's
That's not the picture I saw actually, but
oops, I didn't mean to save. I just wanted to open a new tab. This is fun. Let me get this one out of here. And then put the new one in. Wait, I gotta close this one first so I don't put up the wrong one again. Because this one looks almost, it's like a funeral pyre. It's kind of gross. Yee!
Oh God, yeah. It looks
Yeah.
Zombie Hoggle.
It looks like a rotten body, yeah.
Aw.
Poor Hoggle.
That's really sad.
Astian says, you're all so cruel, we can't all age gracefully.
Aw.
Lori said, you fucked around with the Canadian goose and found out. Yikes. Yeah, okay, this is horrible and I can't do it anymore. Moving on.
Healthy boundaries.
The lipstick that she put on the tiles, good idea in theory, I guess, but she should have had string.
Yeah.
There's my favorite, I think I have 3 different quotes that I love. One of the little the little baby goblins that climbs out from under and turns the tile that she wrote on. Your mother was an aardvark.
Yeah.
What kind of an insult is that? That's amazing.
I was laughing because the false alarms where they're all saying, oh, you're going the wrong way, turn back. One of them's got a Yorkshire accent, like from where I came from.
Oh yeah, I recognize that when I heard it.
I like when they said, "Oh, but I don't ever get to say it." Like he started to say his thing, and Hoggle was like, "Yeah, we know," and he said, "But I never get to say it."
Yeah.
All right, fine, you can say it, but don't expect some magic, amazing
Reaction.
Reaction. When Sarah walks through, or she figures out she makes the doors open, the doors with the shields on them that she's talking to, and one always tells the truth and one always lies. And I still can't wrap my head around the logic of asking what the other one would say.
I can't.
I'm never gonna get it. But she walks through the door. She walks through the blue door, I think, and she goes, "This is a piece of cake. I think I'm getting smarter." Balls.
But we don't know what happened on the other door. The other door could have just been like instant death.
It could have been. I mean, that's fair. But and actually, now that I'm thinking about it, that might actually be because then she falls into the oubliette, and then Jareth is looking at her through the crystal ball, and he's like, "Oh, she's in the oubliette. She never should have gotten this far." So maybe that is the right way, even though I don't think it's really an oubliette according to the definition, because the definition of an oubliette is a dungeon in which the only door is in the ceiling. There's only the one way out, and you cannot get out without the assistance of someone else outside.
I did think the door was quite cool, though. The magic door that he pulls out from under the rug, and then it's like the wrong ones and everything.
When she falls through the hole into the oubliette, like she gets stopped by the helping hands, and how fucking creepy is that? That's the one that gave me nightmares as a kid. Was like all the hands holding her, like. Ugh, ugh.
I called it the groupie shaft because I couldn't remember.
Yeah, Lori says oubli means forget. Yeah, it's I read that. I had to look. Ended up reading the whole fucking Wikipedia article, and yeah, basically an oubliette is where they threw the prisoners and then forgot about them.
Well, do you want to know the logic to the logic puzzle?
I don't know. Do I? Are you gonna break my brain? It's late.
No, it's very simple.
Okay.
Like if you asked, one of them what they would say, what the other guy would say, whatever door they both pick is going to be the wrong one. So go through the other one. Because one always lies and one always tells the truth.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have like.
It's also known as like, I think the Pinocchio puzzle or Pinocchio paradox, knights and knaves. So it's a pretty common thing.
Yeah, and I felt like as I was listening to them argue about it on the screen, I was like, I should get this, shouldn't I?
Well, it's just one of those things that until you can see it from all sides, it makes zero sense. Like as a kid, I spent a while puzzling out this puzzle, trying to figure out, okay, what the fuck should you do? Because she explained it, as she did it, but I don't think it was enough information for various different, neuroatypical people to figure it out. Like everybody learns in a different way. But no, it's a good riddle, but very easy once you understand how it works.
I just noticed a comment that I missed from Astian saying "slap that baby, set it free." Is that in the lyrics of the dance magic song? Because
I don't think so. I watched with the subtitles on, and I don't recall reading that line.
I can't figure out what it says.
And I read it. I watched with the subtitles as well, and it was not right often. It was incorrect often.
Did you watch Netflix?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look at the lyrics because I can never figure out what that word says.
It says "slap that baby, make him free." It is in the lyrics in the.
They might be referring to how doctors used to deliver babies, where they would deliver them, cut the umbilical cord, and slap them on the ass to get them to take that first breath.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
The rain is getting hard enough that I can hear it through the headphones.
I'm so jealous.
We haven't had rain in a while. Actually, it's probably pissing off all the farmers in the area because they're probably just about ready to go out and harvest some shit, and the rain's gonna screw it all up.
No.
Oh God, Bob's here. He's gonna screw up everything. Fun fact: I was trying to do work the other day, and Bob decided to climb up on here, and he just laid down on my desk, and he's like 17 pounds, and turned off the computer, and I gave up. I was like, I guess I'm done for the day.
Took me a minute to realize if, Bob was the boyfriend or the cat.
Jeff is the boyfriend, Bob is the cat. Twee is the annoying little gray one who's actually still here. He's just out of frame now. Okay, so back to Labyrinth.
You think you've got problems. I've got a. So you think you've got problems with the cat? I've got a 7-month-old collie who likes basically putting his paws on everything.
I hope he doesn't try and climb up under your desk though.
He has the laptop a few times.
Lori just said that I sent her a message that was about 12 pages of vowels because of Bob. I was like, and I can't. There was a point at which I was trying to type, and he just laid down on my hands and everything, and I was like, okay, I don't even. Thank you, cat.
So you're basically typing an orgasm.
Yeah, I guess. Except that it wasn't that fun.
Well, I mean, if a pussy was doing the typing.
Good point. Shit.
Cat puns.
While they're in the oubliette, Sarah goes, "That's not fair," to Jareth when he appears to stop them from getting any farther, and he goes, "You say that often. I wonder what your basis for comparison is."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that's another one of mine. I'm like, oh, I love that quote, and the way he delivers it is so good too.
Yeah, I liked that bit. I also like the goblins operating the cleaners. You know that big thing as it goes past, and you think, oh, it's just a stone, but then it's behind it. There's all the goblins on the little
goblins.
So cute.
That was kind of cute.
Yeah.
I think there's a way to bring the terror down a little bit on, because that thing was fucking terrifying. And then you see the back of it, because as children and as adults, once you see how something works and understands it, it's less scary. Hashtag, fix racism and GLBTQIA rights. Understand that shit. And you won't be scared of it anymore.
And I did not expect for that to tie into Labyrinth so well, but it really kind of does in that scene there.
My next notes. My next notes are the door knockers remind me of Forbidden Corner. Now, Forbidden Corner is this amazing garden in England somewhere, and you actually have to get to it. You go through a giant mouth with tonsils, and it makes burping sounds as you go through. The entire place is so weird. It's got like corridors that shrink down to tiny little point, which I kind of noped out at because I'm a bit claustrophobic. But there's all sorts of really strange statues and stuff. If you ever look it up, it's got some really weird things. Like there's a giant axe in the woods with like a wooden giant, and there's a poison garden where everything's poisonous, and it is just so cool. But there's some of the things like the door knockers just really reminded me of that place. But look it up; it's a really cool place.
Heard of the poison garden.
I don't think we have any cool places like that here. We probably do it. I just haven't found them yet. There's an underground cave nearby. It's pretty cool with an underground lake.
Ooh.
I was about just to the part where they get out of the oubliette, and I said, this movie is 90% chaos. How the fuck does it make sense? And somehow at the end, you're kind of like, yeah, no, I get it. So, so many drugs. They were doing so many drugs, and they came up with the most amazing, fantastical worlds. But also, you look at it through the lens of 2021, and you're like, so many drugs. Oh, Aaron,
especially with the fiery things. That's just so trippy. I was sort of uncomfortably so.
That was the only part that as a kid disturbed me. And it was like the way they moved their bodies was so unnatural. And then when they started taking off their body parts, especially their heads, that really fucking creeped me out.
Right. Oh, yeah. Astian says, I spent so much of the start of the movie wondering if I missed scenes. Same. I was like, I don't know why are we here? What happened? Did I fall asleep? What's going on? And by the end of the movie, you're like, no, I get it, but it's just so fucking
Yeah,
weird.
Sarah didn't even blink when we went from in the same sentence her room to the beginning of the labyrinth. Like there was just
they just
gave
like
no fucks
there, and she didn't go like she didn't even look around and go, what the fuck? She did nothing, no reaction at all. Aaron pointed out that we do have a weird place here, and I forgot about House on the Rock. I don't know if anybody's ever been to House on the Rock. Probably not Katie, but certainly not Katie, but probably not you guys either. It's I can't remember the name. It was Frank Lloyd Wright. It was a guy who was directly competing with Frank Lloyd Wright, and I cannot for the life of me remember his name right now. But he built his home here, and it is fucking weird.
Sarah. Just check your Facebook messages, and I've sent you a picture of the doorway into Forbidden Corner that you have to go through to get in.
Okay. Let's see. Now my internet. The rain is breaking the internet.
Well, at least we still got you.
For now.
Kappa. In that one scene where the David Bowie was singing,
how dare you?
Babe, there were 52 puppeteers in that room controlling all those puppets in those scenes. Like fucking insanity.
There was like 2 or 3 different ones just to control Hoggle. I think there was there was one person inside the actual suit, and there was 2 other people that had to control it.
Control the face.
Okay, this is the place, Katie.
Yep, that's the entrance to get in.
I was
burps when you walk through the mouth.
I didn't.
The eyes blink as well.
Okay, that's creepy.
Yeah, but it reminded me, that just some of the things in that place just reminded me of this film so much.
No, it looked like it belongs there. Yeah, it's wild. That's fucking. Where is this? Yorkshire?
Yeah.
Yorkshire was one of the places that I was at. I was in the general. I didn't get here. Otherwise I would know what you were talking about. But I might have to, if I ever get back there, I might have to go just to see. And I'm not going to walk through that though. Cause that's.
You have to, that's the only way in. You get a map of all the weird things that you have to find.
No, it's weird. It's weird. I don't know if I'll have to psych myself out to I'll have to build my
just close your eyes and let somebody lead you through the mouth.
It has tonsils as well.
Trust anybody? Ew, why? What the fuck? Oh,
but yes, it's like something out of that Labyrinth.
The UK is weird. It's like old and then that. Like ancient architecture, beautiful. Babies holding skulls in every single church that you go to. There's a baby holding a skull.
So goth.
It's so weird. And I have so many pictures of babies with skulls from my trip there. Like it's like I must have visited a dozen different cathedrals, and just every single one of them baby with a skull. So okay, carrying on. Favorite character, Sir Didymus. That's who I put down there, and then I also put penis reference here. Like I wonder if they did it on purpose. I genuinely do.
It was the 80s, everybody wore spandex. It was just kind of okay.
Yeah, but in the 80s, I think, was sex education better or worse than it is now? Because did people understand?
Depends on where you were.
There. It's like did somebody who is writing these things just see the word epididymis and go, oh, that's a fun word, and then just write it into the script and not understand that they were technically kind of making a dick joke, sort of?
Yep.
Maybe it was
more of a scrotum joke, but yes.
Right.
I noticed in that scene with him that when Ludo summoned the rocks from below the bog, they're still kind of wet with bog juice.
Yeah,
so
I wonder.
What did that make them smell?
I thought the same thing.
Their shoes stink, and Ludo's not wearing any shoes, so.
Yeah.
But they did say several times if you step 1 foot into the bog, which technically they did not do. So I guess I don't know. There's a loophole. I don't know. I think that maybe my very favorite part of the whole movie is when Sir Didymus is like, I made a vow that no one will ever cross this bridge without my permission. And then Sarah's like, well, may we have your permission? And he's like, nobody's ever asked me that before. Shut up. Yes, sure. Like that might be my favorite part of the whole damn thing. And then when he, because it's like icing on the cake when he summons his noble steed, and it's a fucking sheepdog. I love it.
I kept getting irritated that it kept going from like a real sheepdog to the puppet one. Like it was really odd.
Yeah, like I get why, because
the puppet one shake with fear.
Yep.
But and that dog, how cool is that dog? Because he was like, they strapped a freaking puppet to his back, and he
was cool with it.
Yeah, he was fine.
You can't get my dog to walk if she's got a coat on. She just stands there and refuses to move.
Oh shit.
He is very stubborn though.
That's how most of the cats are. I have one cat that I can put a harness on and walk her around, and she's like a little dog. But the others, no, they'll just be like, I'm paralyzed, and tip over, and that's the end of it.
Yep.
Yeah, she's a bit like a cat though. She's definitely got a cat-like personality in a dog's body.
Fair enough.
She's how would it be put? Like I guess trans pet.
Yeah. She's a Jack Russell.
That's the thing that I admire about the animal world, is they don't give a shit about that stuff. Like that's why animals are better than people.
Yes.
They don't care if they, like you can be a gay penguin, you can be a trans bear. They don't care.
Side note, if I may, a lot of the reason people call being gay unnatural is directly related to National Geographic intentionally cutting out footage of gay and pansexual and polyamorous animals, because they are very common, but it just wasn't seen as acceptable for TV. And it was, the BBC that said that, oh, we can't show that. And so they cut it out. So everybody has this idea that the whole animal world is all straight. And that's bullshit. You get, gay penguins raising chicks together, stealing an egg. And it's just amazing. And you have thruples of swans, and it's just awesome. And it is absolutely normal.
I
have a brilliant story about that.
They're like, not binary, right? There's several kinds of animals that aren't even, they have more than two sexes, but that's not natural.
And fish can change sexes. Roostin, what was your story?
Frogs.
Oh yeah, well, I was at this wildlife park in the UK, and they've got a few prides of lions there that have all been rescued. Like one of them's not got a tail, and they've all come from bad places, but they're all in islands that are surrounded by water. Anyway, I was going around, and there was this family, and these kids were being, bratty kids, and the parents were just sort of ignoring them. They're like, oh, the lions aren't doing anything. So the parents are like, do something at the lions. And I'm not joking. This male lion looked up, looked at them, got up and started mounting the other male lion, and these parents were absolutely horrified. They had their hands over their eyes, and they were running away with them, whilst this lioness is just staring at these two male lions just going at it.
Awesome.
That's amazing.
I couldn't stop laughing. It's just the way that they were running away with their hands over the kids' eyes.
What did you ask for? What more do you want? Oh shit. Yeah. The only scene in the Goblin world where there's human actors.
The dance scene.
The ballroom scene, which I don't think there are any puppets, and I think they were all humans. I was looking for puppets and I didn't see any.
I love the masks though. Some of those masks are amazing in that masquerade.
Like if you gotta be like you have to like compartmentalize the whole kind of pedophilia thing, because that whole scene is just visually stunning. The whole scene is so beautiful.
Well, part of what they did to, like you were talking before, kind of, go up to the line of pedophilia is they dressed her up and put on a lot of makeup to make her look older. Mm-hmm. And so, like, if she looked like she did in the regular world in that, then the ick factor would definitely go up. But because she looks a lot older, it doesn't, spark that little bit of ew in the back of our head.
For sure. Lori and Steven both posted some comments about male lions boning. Lori says, "Are you not entertained?" ? quote the lion. And Steven said, I'm imagining the lion just staring aggressively as it's pounding away.
Yes.
I hope
Pretty
it
much.
didn't, like, made eye contact the whole fucking time.
Yes.
with the
Didn't even blink.
You wanted me to do something.
So I'll do this other guy over here.
And then, yeah. Are you not entertained? Oh shit. The dog. So the scene where they get into the Goblin City and then the big battle starts to happen. The fucking what's the name? Ambrosius, the dog.
Why does it make a horse noise?
It goes I was like, oh my god, I about peed my pants laughing because the fucking dog whinnies.
Yep.
That was where I was going with that. Yeah. It's so hilarious. Yeah, so like that's and then it's like the dog and Sir Didymus, who is also kind of like a dog. Yeah, they steal
Like
that scene. That is their scene. And then, because Ambrosius is so cowardly and he runs off, and then Sir Didymus is like, "You open this door right now, Ambrosius!" And then he, the other goblins are like poking their spears into his back, and he turns around and is like, "Oh, so you wish to surrender? Very well." Oh,
Like, we got you surrounded.
yeah, he's the best. Yeah, he's the best character. He's the best character. I mentioned that note before about Sarah having she has like a character bridge where she it's like very sharp turn, and yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that the voices are actually much more in sync. Sorry. I noticed that the voices are much more in sync with the puppets than in the Neverending Story. Because in the Neverending Story, they were like none of the puppets were actually in sync.
Yeah,
but in this one, they're a lot better.
Static, open shut, very regular intervals. But the puppets here they got better. And Jim Henson was very persnickety about that. He was very good. Like, obviously, he was very attention.
Yeah, he wanted to create this reality, and if you get something like that off, then it's going to break the illusion entirely.
Yeah, and it definitely.
Ludo is particularly expressive. He's got quite a lot of expressions on his face.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have another note about chickens being harmed in the movie. So the scene where they make it to the castle and they're right outside the Escher room, and Sarah goes, "I have to face him alone." And I think it was Sir Didymus was like, "But why?" And I'm like, "Thank you. Why? Why do you have to face him alone? What the fuck is this shit?" Because movies, that's why. Yeah, and then they throw around the slave word again. Like, is slave really the word that you need to be using for this? I know it was the 80s, but there are better words. There are better words.
Okay, they are not using that version of the word slave. They are using it in a DS context. It is a 100% sexual context of dominant and submissive and master and slave, and not in the sense of what our fucking country was founded on. Like, not that at all.
I understand that completely, but like, first of all, it's a kids' movie. What are you bringing that shit up for again? Because there is a lot of weirdly.
I loved it. Oh, fucking loved it.
I mean, I had such conflicted feelings about this movie when I was a kid. I mean,
it started stirring some things in me that eventually came out when I was an adult. So yes, yeah. I liked it a lot.
But yeah, so I was like, also, so yeah, it was that part of it, and then it was like also especially nowadays, you don't use that word without being a pretty specific. There were better, I think, even in the 80s. I get it was the 80s, and that's why they didn't search for a different word, but there were even in the 80s better words, I think. And
it just depends on what community you're a part of. Like, I'm in the kink community, and we use the term master and slave all the time, and it has zero connotations of the real world, shit that happened.
Yeah, no, I totally get that part, but like it is a kids movie. They intended it to be a kids movie. So I feel like it was just the wrong word. And I know, viewing it through the lens of a 2021 adult
society
and everything that's happened in even just the past couple of years, never mind the past several decades, it's just like And I understand if, you know, even 5 years ago, it wouldn't have rubbed me the same way, the same wrong way that it does now. But it just seems. And then, you know, the fact that he says, "Fear me, obey me, and I will be your slave," and I'm like, "Whoa, you are an adult man." But again, we already discussed the whole, you know, time is different in the goblin world, and Jareth's probably immortal, and yada yada. Maybe every couple of decades he goes out and he finds himself a teenage girl, and then steals her baby brother and has a new bride. Like, I don't know.
But what happens to the previous ones?
They die. They die of old age because they're just humans. But if he can make Toby into a goblin, then why can't he make Sarah into an immortal goblin too?
Yep.
So, I don't know. Questions that need to be answered in the sequel, maybe?
Actually, there was a sequel. They wrote a comic book.
There's a manga called Return to Labyrinth. I read that one. I think I have 2 of the copies. Daniel actually mentioned that earlier, and I like the comment managed to skip by me before, and then it wasn't relevant anymore, and I was like, shit. But yeah, I read the manga, and there is this like a sequel movie coming out. But in the manga, it's been a while since I've read it, but they kind of skipped over. They didn't skip over the whole thing with Sarah. Like, she's in there, but but they don't really address that the way that I kind of would have gotten the satisfaction of the completion of the story from.
Wait,
so.
they're making another Labyrinth? You kind of threw that in there amongst everything else.
You know that? There's as recently as 2020, I think there was news about the Labyrinth
Wow.
sequel. And Brian Hansen is in it, and his sister, Brian's sister, is in on it. There's 2 Hansens that are in there that are doing the puppet stuff. So yeah. Matt said there's this sort of dream logic that makes it hard to buy Sarah as a modern teenage girl. Is that like in the that must be in referring to the dance scene where she's very adult? I don't know. Elaborate, Matt, please.
Yeah.
Because I think that I might have read this. It came in 3 minutes ago, so I don't know if I'm reading this out of context of what we were talking about 3 minutes ago. So, and then I wrote about how Sarah hated Toby in the beginning. Didn't really have a clear reason for hating him. Just, I'm a teenage girl and I'm kind of spoiled, so I hate my baby brother. We have since produced several possible reasons why, so that's good. But they didn't really explain it in the movie itself, so we're left to just extrapolate. And then like she just goes by the end. And it seems like she's like, I hate you. I want the Goblin King to take you away. And then, oh shit, I'm gonna get in trouble if my baby brother is here when my parents get home. And then she goes like, she like is very tender towards him in the end when they get back home. Like, she's very tender and caring and loving, and she gives him her beloved teddy bear.
Well, it's just a realization. You don't realize that you love something until it's taken away. I mean, that whole trope of hating your younger siblings has been used over and over and over again. And typically in those movies, it's that same thing of they end up going on a journey together, and by the end, they're friends and they care about each other. It's just, you know, the norms of childhood. Like, I don't know how many here had lots of brothers and sisters growing up, but there were times where you fucking hated them and you actually wanted them to die, but not really.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I totally get that. I have 2 brothers and a sister. Yeah, I get it.
I'm an only child.
Oh, no.
Eric, you must have said something that Eric says he made a funny comment, and it says it's being auto-modded on Twitch. We put in a bunch of auto-mod shit for when Maddox was on, so you probably just got zapped by that. Oh, and Astian says I get auto-modded sometimes too. Lori, we should probably go in there and turn those off. We don't need them anymore. We only needed them for that one time. Yeah. So it's just I guess I don't like the lack of smoothness in the arc of the character arc of like her hating him to loving him. Like, there's not a lot of smoothness, and she doesn't have a lot of interaction with him to establish why she would love or hate him.
Well, I mean, it's about, I guess, a 1.5-1-year-old kid. And so she's had the last, year and a half of her life from like 14 and a half or 15 or so to 16 in her years where she's learning her own independence and wanting to distance herself away from the parental units. And then this new baby comes along and she doesn't get to do the things she wants to do. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of resentment there. But at the end of the day, it is your flesh and blood. It is your family. And it being, as far as you're saying, being choppy, it was a kids movie. And I don't know how many kids movies you've seen. I'm sure a lot. A lot of them really don't make sense. And the kids don't give a shit.
Yeah, no, but that's like, again, from viewing it through the lens of an adult in this time period. It's just, I get that there's, you know, and I loved the movie when I was a kid too. It's like when I was, you know, 9 years old and watching it, I loved it. And I had like you said, I was like, I had weird stirrings and I didn't understand why. But it turns out it's because I think David Bowie is hot. Yeah. Eric said, just fear me, love me, do as I say, and I will be your slave. Sounds like Christianity to me. Yeah, I'm guessing that it was the word slave that made you get automated, because if I remember right, that was a specific point of contention. So yeah, that's probably the word, but we can probably turn that stuff off now. Yeah, okay, at the end I mentioned this earlier, like the dad comes in and he's like, Sarah, are you home? Like, where the fuck else would she be? Shouldn't you be worried if she doesn't answer? Like, why would you even ask that question as though she wouldn't be home? Like, you expected her to not be home? That's crazy.
Yeah, if you trust her enough to watch the kid, you should trust her enough not to leave the baby home alone.
I mean, I guess a baby that's too small to climb out of its cage. I almost called it a baby cage.
That's what they call it on Scrubs. That's what the janitor, when he gave Carla and Turk a present, it was the cat carrier. He called it a baby cage because that's what his mom called it.
I always called them baby cages. Do they look like cages? Come on. But anyway, a baby that's too small, too little to climb out of its crib would in theory be the safest kind of baby to leave alone. But all that being said, why did Sarah's father expect that Sarah would just fuck off in the middle of the night too? Isn't it like midnight? Like, she's 16 years old. Why would she not be home? A 16-year-old should be home at midnight on a school night anyway. Which they never actually say what day it is, I don't think, but they implied at one point in the beginning that it was a school night.
Yeah, because if they didn't trust her enough to do that, they wouldn't have left the baby with her.
Yep.
I should hope not. But maybe they were just those 80s parents that just left their kids. I mean, my parents let us wander the hell. Like, there were entire stretches of day that my parents had no idea where we were, and that the only way that they knew we weren't dead is because my grandma's yard had this big ass bell in it, and they would just ring the bell, and you could hear it for about a mile. I think we figured, as long in a specific direction, you could hear it for a mile. Like, the hills made it so that you couldn't hear it from a mile. And yeah, anyway, that was the only way that they would ascertain if we were alive or not, is if we came running back when we heard the bell.
Pavlov.
Yeah. Well, it was usually, I mean, they did train very well. It was like the bell meant that supper was done and it was time to come eat. So yeah.
I'll be just back in a second. I'm being summoned by the dog.
Astian said, we don't know the backstory. This may not be the first time she sold Toby to a magical being. That's possible too. Yeah, I mean, there could be a prequel that we're missing here. And she's sold the baby.
Baby broker.
She's collecting magical baubles from magical beings, and so she's just like trading Toby and then stealing him back. Like, she's kind of being a dick there if that's the case.
Baby bait.
That's con artist stuff. That's yeah, you're scamming people there then. But yeah, those are my notes. So do you guys have anything else?
I wanted to say rewatching this was very therapeutic for me, because their relationship between Jareth and Sarah just reminds me of my abusive relationship from my past. And I recently used a quote from the movie to bring myself down from a panic attack, which was the quote that Sarah could never remember from the book, "You have no control over me."
Mhm.
So it's weird how things come back around in your life. And like before Sarah even said we're doing the Labyrinth, like that quote popped in my head when I was having the panic attack, just from my childhood or whatever. It just,
That was in reference to me, Sarah, not saying
Yeah.
Sarah said we were doing the Labyrinth, but Sarah, what was
no,
her name?
Connolly, she didn't come, and talk to me.
This was slightly confusing because we kept saying Sarah. Even I was saying Sarah. And I was like, wait, who, me? No, not me.
But it's weird you have that when I was like, I don't know, 12, 13 watching this and praying that I have the kind of like strength and experience that Sarah has and goes into a magical
Mhm.
world. And I mean, when you're 12 or 13, you're not thinking about getting with another 13-year-old, right? You're thinking about like getting with a handsome, tall man, and that's, totally relate to that. But watching it as an adult, I was like, no, that's toxic. And I totally like see it
Mhm.
in a different light now.
No, I
You have-
absolutely understand that. It's growing up, I had, photos of Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt and shit on my wall, and that's who I fantasized about. And so this movie written, for kids, that makes perfect sense. And it's also great that for the 80s anyway, having a female as the hero of the movie, the heroine, is really rare. And she was not once in it did she show fear or was intimidated at all. And that I love that as a kid because I didn't see my reflection in many places. And yeah, she was a white girl, and it would be great if it was a person of color, but it still helps to have not a white boy as the hero.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, agreed completely. I agree with you on that. There was actually a point at which she shouts at Hoggle. Hoggle freely admits that he is a coward, but
Mhm.
she also is like, "Are you kidding me? I'm here. I'm not afraid. I'm not running away, and you are. You're the one who lives here. You shouldn't be scared." It's like so yeah. She definitely is very brave throughout the whole thing, and even though you can tell that she's unsure, she doesn't really show any actual fear. So that's
Mhm.
pretty cool. And that's really cool that you are able, or that you had that ability to pull yourself away from I mean, that is hard to do. I have not managed to pull myself from a panic, like rip once it's happening, like it's happening, it's done. So that you could do that is super cool.
That's
Coping techniques.
it's yeah, I mean, that's why I'm going to therapy. I mean,
Mhm.
me 1 month ago is a different person than the me I am today because,
Mhm.
coping mechanisms, and that's a whole nother episode I'm sure we could do. I mean, yeah, it's been quite a journey. That's, all I'll say.
Yeah.
A few techniques, Sarah, you can do is the standard breathe in for a 4 count, hold a 4 count, exhale for a 4 count, and lock your brain onto something else that will absolutely grab your attention, like a TV show or a book or an audio book or something that doesn't allow your brain to run in the background. Because it's that run in the background that'll pull you right back into that fucking panic attack. And you just got to have so much stimuli going on that it can't get through the door.
Yeah.
I think that's why I don't have a lot of panic attacks, because I usually, ADHD, I have the TV's going and there's something on the computer and there's probably music playing and then I'm drawing on my tablet or something. So I think that's why I don't get a lot, because it's always when I have to focus on something that they tend to happen. And thankfully it doesn't happen a lot, because they're awful. They're so awful when they do happen.
Well, congratulations, Julie, on going to therapy and getting help with all of this. As you've said, you're a different person now. It makes a huge difference. And I think every human being should be in therapy.
Oh, hell yeah. My therapist said that herself.
especially if you're an American. Holy shit.
Well, we just tend to look at therapy as something to use when you're broken. Whereas if we looked at therapy like we look at car maintenance, where, you go in and you get everything topped off, so you don't have issues in the future. If we were to have a therapist all the time, just once a month, to have somebody to bounce ideas off of and learn coping mechanisms for the little things. When the big things come, they won't be so self-destructive and affect your life in such a huge capacity.
Yeah, totally.
Absolutely. Well, we are at an hour and 45 minutes, so we're still we're doing better, Julie. Like, Julie and I have been talking about how we still can't get to that hour and a half point where we can actually get it. Bam.
Well, it's because we're ADHD, but that's okay because we love you. Lots of side tangents.
I mean, I blamed Mike that one time because Mike brought up, we ended up on a tangent on the Black Widow movie because of Mike. So like that was absolutely his fault. It's because, yeah, tangents. It happens. It's okay. I like to think that I'm entertaining, if nothing else.
Yes.
Next week on UHS Presents, what are we doing? We are doing games with patrons. Ooh, that's going to be a fun one. We're going to just play some Jackbox games with everybody. Yeah, we didn't send out the sign up sheet yet. I know Andrew is on board, but I don't know who else is. So if there are not enough patrons, if there are more, because we can have up to 10 people on the stream at once via this program. So if there are less than 10 and you guys want to jump in on it, I'll let you know how many people we've got and we can round out the. I've never had 10 people on here all at once, so it should be. So we'll see. And Steven, you're invited too. I don't know if you're a patron or not, but you're invited too because you watch like every stream. So.
No.
Steven's our biggest fan for sure.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah, he's and actually contributes too. Like I know that sometimes there's people. He is a patron. Lori just said he is a patron. So yay. Yeah. Then what was I saying? It must not have been important. I can't remember now. Anywho's, so next week, games with patrons. You still have a couple of days to back the art of Ian Richardson, uhstudios.com/Kickstarter right there. And I think that's it. Katie's back. I was stalling for Katie to come back.
Sorry, geriatric dog and all that.
Yeah, it happens. It's all good. I was waiting for you to come back because I didn't want to like end the stream without you coming back and being able to say bye. So, all right. So yeah, do you guys have anything else that you need to?
One more thing, since Lori is watching, please get Eric to record you while you open the box. There's a really awesome special thing in there that Matt did that I want to see your reaction to. So please, Eric, record her.
Oh no, is this gonna be a thing where you make her cry?
Likely happy cry.
Lori tends to be she gets very happy when people think of her and stuff. So she's very easy with the tears, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, I'm so excited. I want to see.
You're gonna make her cry. So yeah. Matt says delicious tears.
No, I will be the one that
that's almost ominous. So, all right, let's get the hell out of here before we hit 2 hours. So, thank you everybody for watching. Thank you everybody who watched. Oh, the sumptuous tears of unfathomable sadness. Sadness. What'd you give her? What'd you give her? So, okay, shit, man, you guys are gonna. Lori's like, what the fuck? I don't want to open it, she says. Okay, let's get the hell out of here. Oh, it's a South Park quote. Okay, South Park quote. Yes, we are still under the 2 hour mark, so we're getting the hell out of here before the 2 hour mark happens. Thank you for watching, everybody. Thank you, Caston and Katie and Julie, for coming. Well, Julie's kind of my co-host, so like you're required to come, you're obligated to come now. But thank you anyway. So, yeah. Games for patrons next week. Go back to Art of Ian Richardson and have a wonderful evening. Bye.
Bye.